it's very serious now with people taking this vaccine because they have no idea what they're doing. They have even though you're telling them, they still have no idea. It reminds me of a hypnosis gag that they did one time where a man couldn't see his daughter. He just no, I can't remember how it was. He couldn't see the watch that she had on or something like that. But he actually couldn't see it.
Yes.
And even though it was right there in front of him, he couldn't see it. Now, I know that hypnosis does have some strange phenomenon to it because I've been hypnotized, not on stage, but just to try and give up smoking. And it's just very uncanny. And I think it's because we're really not aware of our consciousness and how, we're kind of like we're sleepers. We're sleeping in this life. We're not really awake to it.
In so many ways. Well, that was one of the methodologies that I tried to give away smoking, and of course it didn't work because I can't be hypnotized except by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I didn't think it was working on me, but he didn't say it didn't work for the cigarettes, but it did. He said, if you don't believe me, when I count to 3, you're going to try and open your eyes, but you won't be able to. They'll feel as though they're nailed down. They're not nailed, glued down, and you just won't be able to open your eyes. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to make him look like a fool. I felt really bad. But then when he counted to 3 and I couldn't open my eyes, I was laughing. I thought, I can't believe this is happening. Like I didn't really think it was going to work. And there's some part of your subconscious that can be, I don't know, prodded or something. What's with that? Be an interesting thing to study, hypnosis. But it doesn't have full control of people. It doesn't, because it didn't work with the smoking,
Yeah, well, look at so many people today. They are under hypnosis. The ones who are wearing the masks and going along with the vaccines and so on and so forth. They're all under hypnosis. They're all being hypnotized. And it's just revealing that it's so easily done. Because we can change the programs. We all are run by programs, but we can change them at will. But the thing is, you put it to most people of being the observer of the observer, and they haven't got the faintest idea what the bloody hell you're talking about. And yet, what that is about is becoming aware of one's own self, observing what one is thinking, what one is doing, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
In one's mind, because that's where it is all happening. It's in one's mind. And so if a person isn't even aware of that part of themselves, well, then they're not in control of themselves.
Yeah.
They're controlled.
Yeah.
That's how come so many people can be hypnotized. They're not even aware of their own facilities.
Yes, that's
of
why.
their own structure.
Right.
Because really there is, we're observing our own self all the time. Most of us aren't even aware of it. It's all in the so-called subconscious.
Yeah.
And we need to be aware of it. Like as I've said to you a couple of times before, if I really revealed to especially my parents and that, I would have been bloody well classified as a extreme. Well, what's the word for it?
Schizophrenic?
Yeah, schizophrenic. Yes.
Yeah, they put everything under that they don't understand.
And what would have been done to me would have been horrendous.
Yeah.
Because even without that, when I I was in that psych ward that time, and when those clowns couldn't get info out of me, they hit me up with another maximum dose, which should never have been done. And the maximum dose was for someone twice my size.
Yeah.
Right? And it had to be that damn strong to override, which it did. I could not stop myself from talking. I could not. So, well, I could still use my tongue and all the rest of it. So I did. And I used it in such a way that they were unable to understand a single word I said because I deliberately garbled it by placing my tongue in front of my bottom teeth. And I talked for them all 6 hours, non-stop, but they couldn't understand a single word.
What did they try to get out of you?
Information about whom was running the drugs and all this sort of thing, which I didn't know anyway because I wasn't involved in it. But Tunnable at that time was being used as a front for a drug ring. And it was CIA bloody well manipulated. It was CIA run.
We're being run by predators, you know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and
Yes,
they've got access. The Nazis did so many experiments,
yes.
and they know
They've got
about the psyche.
they've got access to all of that stuff. That was what
Yeah.
Operation Paperclip was all about.
Hmm.
And they made clandestine agreements with the bloody Nazis, mostly the flaming Yanks, bloody all
Yeah.
the Yank administration. They were just fascist-like as the flaming all Nazis, really.
Yeah. I was just thinking of there's a good poster, and it's a face of Bill Gates, and it says, now he's single, and then it says, and ready to mingle.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
very funny
Yeah,
because that's what he's like. That's what they're like. They're all Nazis, you
yes,
know,
yes,
eugenicists.
yep,
Fancy being a eugenicist. That's self-hatred.
yes.
If you want to kill off your own species, that's self-hatred.
And it's also pathologically insane. They're
Yes.
pathologically insane.
Yes. Well, they don't go around advertising that they're eugenicists. Philanthropist is a euphemism for it.
Yeah,
Philanthropist. You shouldn't need philanthropy. If we had a decent system that made sense, we wouldn't need so-called
exactly.
philanthropy.
Yes, exactly. Wouldn't need it at all.
Yeah.
Uh, yes. However, but we've possibly there's there's a way of neutralizing the hypnosis if we can understand the mechanism of what's
Yes,
being
yes.
used.
Because there's always an antidote for
Yes,
everything.
yes, yes.
Yes. That's an interesting one, Frederick. There is an antidote to hypnosis as well. What is it? That's an interesting one because we kind of just think that hypnosis, you're just you're done for if you get it. There's nothing you can do about it or something. We have that sort of underlying attitude
Mm,
about it. But no, there's an antidote for everything, and I'm glad to see that there's an antidote for this vaccine, so that the people who've taken it can be repaired. Like can be remedied.
yes. Yeah,
That's
that's
so good to know.
yeah, that is for sure. Well, with this hypnosis, there is an antidote to it, and
Yes.
it's relatively simple. It's it's learning to observe the observer, and that can be done very quickly, and it's simple, really.
Mm.
Then it neutralizes any attempt at hypnotizing one, mesmerizing one, because then one is in full control.
Yeah. So how would people learn to be like that? What kind of steps would they have to take? What would you say?
Observe everything that they're thinking.
Yes, that's going to take a while to get used to, and it does take a lot of. This is what happens to people, and I've noticed this, and it's very difficult to notice this. we've got this idea about time, and like we have to hurry everything, and we really don't have to hurry anything, because like you said, oh, hello, Mark.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, g'day.
Glad you could make it.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I was
No, good
usual
to have.
drama to go on here.
Yeah, we're just talking about, Mark, we're just talking about the antidote, and there's an antidote to this vaccine, which is very easy. It's a tea infused with pine leaves, from
Right.
pine leaves. You know it?
No, but I wanted to discuss. It's interesting that you're talking about that, because there's Elle, my wife. She had a conference with her naturopath, and she prescribed some stuff and I've opened the page here and I looked it up. Cyto, something to do with getting your cytokines right in your immune system.
Yes.
So it's called CytoQuell.
Uh-huh.
It's a natural product. Yeah, it has current research is focused on the impact of pro-inflammatory cytokines on inflammation levels. Well, all this is very good, but I'm not going to take the vaccine, so it's not going to be any use to me.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to stop it, but it really, for the people who are taking it.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah, but why would you take it?
I know. Well, I was just telling Frederick today, one of my neighbours just got it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how is that neighbour?
Well, I'll be keeping an eye on her. I go there every week. She had some every day. She had some bad luck. Her house caught fire, and she's not. I don't know what she's going to do, because she doesn't really have the money. She works like, I don't know, in some sort of call center or something, and her house hasn't even been cleared away yet. She's got like a few acres, and she used to have animals. Now she's just got a dog, and she works a heck of a lot, and she hates it. She doesn't like her job too much most of the time. I think she tolerates it. She's not very healthy. She can barely walk. She just can't walk very well, and it's just a bad story, but yeah.
I got into a bit of an argument this morning. There's some abusive arseholes around on Facebook. Friend of mine, Arthur Purley, who he used to be the CEO of Wyeth Pharmaceuticals here in Australia.
Uh-huh.
And I think they were bought out by Pfizer. And he can guarantee you that taking this vaccine is a thing you should not be doing. And this is a guy who used to get big bucks. He was on, $350,000 a year.
Yep.
And he's lectured at university about immunology and the chemicals used in all different sorts of preparations. He knows what he's talking about. He gets abused constantly through his stance on this vaccine.
Incredible.
And he often posts me stuff by Dolores Cale, and I should invite him onto one of these discussions, but he's always busy doing other things, He's one of these guys. He's very dynamic personality. So he made a comment this morning on Facebook. Somebody's posted a suggestion that if vaccine is approved, will you change your mind and take it? And he put down what he knows about it, and the storm of abuse. There's some ignorant retards out there that know nothing about this vaccine.
Yeah.
They're placing their faith in the pharmaceutical companies, the governments, the medical fraternity.
Yeah, they really have no clue.
Nah.
And even if you tell them, they still have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but they defend the companies.
I tell you what, Denise, some of your posts on Facebook are real button pushers.
Oh, Good. Thank you. That's a good compliment.
Yeah, and well, it's interesting. Some of the people and their replies they make to you,
Oh yeah.
I have a laugh at some of them. Fair dinkum, there's some ignorant bastards out there.
I know. I've got a few trolls.
Yeah,
A couple of trolls. One in particular, he's come back in full force. But that's okay. I always try to get the trolls to take themselves out, like the trash.
yeah.
So it's fun. I like to play with them. And people say, why don't you just block him? Because I'm so against censorship. We should not ever block,
No,
because we are actually wiping ourselves out by doing that, because the
yeah.
only weapon we have is free speech.
Yeah, exactly right. And whenever you have blocks and you're able to do this to people and not allow free speech, you're never going to change the narrative. This
Right.
one narrative that they keep pushing with the vaccines and burning fossil fuels is the one thing that will never change while the media empires control how everything goes,
Yep. But we don't want to burn fossil fuels. You know that, don't you? At all.
At all.
We've got to get onto the hemp economy, and we've got to do this. There's no two ways about it. We can't just sit around and think that everything is just going to land in our lap. The organised forces are very organised, and they have absolutely no mercy.
Yeah.
So
there are hidden technologies out there that have been around since the time of Nikola Tesla, and it's all been suppressed. Eventually, it'll come out because enough people are starting to ask the right questions now, and they're not going to be able to hide it forever. And I'm talking about over Unity systems that don't need wind or solar. It's way beyond that,
Yeah. I'm sure there is, Mark, but even if we just go by what we've got, we've still got a lot, and we've got to look at what we have got. And we've got hemp, especially. We can stop cutting down trees. That's a big one. We've got to stop this cutting down trees. Stop this business about caging everything. We want to cage everything. We've got borders around everything. It's just so pathetic.
The scary part about the cutting down trees question is that it's not just
was talking about his wife, and she got this call from a friend, and this traumatic thing had happened, and she kind of starts freaking out, and she takes on all this traumatic stuff that happened to her friend, and she burns her finger or something like that, right? And it blisters, and they're praying over it, and they can't get it to heal, and they can't get it to heal. And he hears a voice from God, and God says, your wife has taken on a spirit of trauma. So they cast the demon of trauma out. And I was like, I have never heard of a spirit of trauma. I've got all these people in family court who have PTSD from what's happening in the family court system. They're using torture techniques and everything else. And I had no clue there was such thing as a spirit of trauma.
Yeah. Well, it's not a God thing, I don't think. I don't believe in God, but it's what we think. Our thoughts are that powerful. But people have to add a story to it, because they have to say it's somebody else that's doing it, but it's really us that's doing it. It's us that's doing it by having this thought form.
Well, I don't know if it's us that doing it. It's because when you go into the family court system, right, you have common sense. And you go into the family court system and common sense doesn't happen, and you leave. And I remember it. People say it's like living in the Twilight Zone. You're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I can't even believe this shit is happening to me. And then, my ex had me back. I was in court every other month, and the friend of the court on the opposite every other month, and had me here and had me there and doing this and doing that. And I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to take care of 3 kids. And he wouldn't show up to the school to get them. And he would, just all this drama. It was just amazing. And I just wanted to live my life and move on. And finally I'm hit a point, I'm done with this shit. And I started fighting. And it doesn't matter, because I was going to win. I was going to lose anyways, because they sold him custody, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know, people say you're asking for it. You've created this. There's no way I created all that shit. There's just no way, so I don't know. So I think it's kind of interesting.
Well, the thing is, I think this is how it works, that other people have the same power, so they can create it. And unless you have a resistance thought to that. Unless you've got another way of creating, unless you create something else, then that's going to be created in that agenda is going to overtake your life. Now, what I don't know the answers to all of it, but what I'd like to do is to experiment and figure this out, because this is something that we can learn. We can learn, and I believe that we have got as much. We've all got the same amount of power, but we just don't know that. Like we've all got as much power to create whatever we imagine. So if you can imagine something different, then you're creating a different path, and that will put a spanner in their agenda.
Well, kind of what I'm thinking is if people go by the Bible and, whatever, and I'm like, okay, so I used to be, I'm like, I'm going into the snake den, right? That's what I used to say. But now that I know there's a spiritual name to it, now I kind of know what I'm fighting, so it's kind of like, if you have a robber in your house and you don't know his name, you don't really know who he is, what he's fighting, whatever. But then if you knew what his name was and maybe you knew him, then it's a whole different story. You might know how to interact or know more about him or whatever. So I would love it if I could get people to cast him, in Jesus' name and cast him in the pit of hell, and maybe do the same thing with trauma and see what happens. I wish I could do an experiment on that.
Yeah, but that's because of our belief system, that we believe that a guy called Jesus, which is probably made up, everything shows that it's just made up. But it doesn't matter. Like, it could still be a good story. But this is the story. All of it. The Bible is the story of the bloodlines agenda, and they use the idea of a God to circumvent our own power. Now, I'm not saying we're powerful like we imagine a God to be, like magical. We actually are, but we're not at this point, because we're too dense, in more ways than one. And so, yeah, exactly. Very barbaric. You can't do this instantly, because to be able to do it instantly, we've got to advance to being very conscious beings, But I think that some of us are going to this position, to this condition. We're easing into this condition as we're speaking right now, as all of this is coming out and being revealed. It's going to open up doors in our what we're made of. And I don't know what we're made of, but certainly in DNA. But we have to study this now. We need to have the universities, not the way they are now, but we need to have people teaching about this and their experiments with these kind of things. Like you said earlier, that a lot of the time when you say something, it happens. What is that phenomenon? We need to study it, because I think that we can make that happen much, much more commonly if we understood this, call it a power or capacity or capability or whatever you want to call it. But definitely the God thing is put in to interfere with that. We have to reconnect. For a start, we have to reconnect with our bodies, because our body is like another earth, and we are.
That's when I kind of got, when the whole thing, I was really studying the Bible and into the Bible and reading books and reading the Bible and praying. That's actually when that started happening. I was deep in like the Bible and reading, and C.S. Lewis. I was listening to his stuff and I was reading books. That's actually when it happened. And I would just say random things that you just kind of come to me, kind of felt, true or whatever. And I would just say them, and I would be like, they happened. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And
well,
the saddest thing is it happened to the guy I was with, who I was going to marry, and who just couldn't handle it. He's like, you're like the next best thing to God. And he's like, you don't ever do anything wrong except for swear. And he's like, now you're speaking and it's happening. He's, and he was freaking out because he wasn't very religious, and didn't know a whole lot about God. So he's freaking out, like, this girl speaks and it happens. And, he was really freaking out about it.
Yeah, but really what it is, this is what I think it is. I think it's your power, your own power. And of course, especially us women, we don't think that we have any. And, we've got to do it through some other person. The whole story of God and Jesus and all that, that's just a man's story. That's a man. There's no women. Like, it's all, they're very few. It's all stories about their adventures, like we weren't even there. You
And
know,
if it's anything to do with women, usually it's because they're like whores or something like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that you know, I'm not trying to talk you out of your beliefs. Everybody has their own beliefs, and I certainly will always defend people to have that. But we've got to talk about it because it's very important. Because it really is diluting. I believe it's diluting our actual human power, which is intrinsic in us. But a bunch of, I don't know, freaks have taken over humanity and made us believe that we have to go through someone else, that we have to our decisions for our lives come from someone else. No, they don't. They come from what I decide, and you, for your life, what you decide. And we've got to get that back in our thinking, and when we get it back in our thinking, then everything will come from the right place. But we've got a lot of work to do because I was thinking today, when I was having a shower and I had a lovely time, and I thought, what would it be like if we didn't have to wear clothes all the time? Like, we are so far away, so disconnected from what we really are. Clothes are not natural. Like, wearing them all the time. I mean, I can understand wearing them because it's cold, but we hide our bodies from each other. We hide them from each other.
What's really interesting about clothes is I have a hard time wearing a suit. Right?
Yeah.
I can't wear them. I can't breathe them. I can't think.
It's a noose.
I'm like,
it's a noose.
yeah,
It's a noose and a straitjacket.
Yeah, and I can't breathe. I can't be creative. I can't think. It's amazing. I hate to wear them, and I've got I've been lucky for the last 4 years. I've been able to wear yoga pants and sweatpants and blue jeans or whatever. Now I'm gonna go back into the work field, and I got to wear at least business casual. So I'm like, I think I can handle business casual as long as I don't have to wear a suit. I'm good. I can handle that. But yeah, it's interesting how when you wear a suit, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't think.
Yeah.
And that is the whole part of the whole mentality and how it's all set up.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
the suit is a symbol of the straitjacket of patriarchal thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because look what mostly wears the suits today in the business world and all the rest of it. What's running the place? That's what the suit symbolizes, and your body feels that, and so you lose your creativity, so on and so forth, because in itself it has an energy as well, and your body, that's what it's being transmitted to your body.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you don't wear it, you have all your faculties back again.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
I have to laugh at why you wear the mask, Deanna. It's so funny that you wear it as
I think it's great. I'm loving it. I'm like, when everybody's done wearing their mask. I mean, I was looking at jewelry because it's jewelry you can wear. Someone's actually making it so that it's like metal and it'll reflect, and they can't make out who you are through facial recognition. So they can't follow you around. So when the whole mask thing came out, I was like, hell yeah. I think it's great. I'm still gonna wear it when nobody else is wearing it, and then I'm like, but then they're gonna know it's me. But then they're not sure it's gonna be me. But yeah, I'll probably still be wearing mine when I go to the store and stuff because they've
definitely
got
wearing different hair color and different hairstyle. They totally throw those people. Throw them off.
I like to put my hair up like this, and when I walk, I'll wear like a headband because I do the earphones, and then it can go over my ear so they don't fall out. And I forgot that I've had them on, and I went to like Dollar Tree or something, and the people give me the strangest look. Just because I have this, thing that goes, and I'm just basically using it to hold my, my headphones in, but that throws people off too. But yeah, I was looking at facial recognition, getting makeup with like maybe some little metal flakes in it that I could maybe put on my face like as like a blush or something that would kind of reflect the light back at them.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's always antidotes. That's one thing we got to remember. There's always an antidote. But this 5G is very dangerous because it really is getting people into a electromagnetic prison, a cage.
But the thing is, when you listen to that video on sulfur, it dissolves and also removes a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we're taking, and I'm like, even if you took sulfur and then maybe even backed it up with some activated charcoal, because that will pull stuff out of your system too, and stuff like that.
Yes.
And take that, and try that. I used diatomaceous earth on my face this week, and my face looks really good. And I was like, ooh,
How
I
did
want
you
to
use
use
it?
this.
Did you wet it?
So you take diatomaceous earth and you add apple cider vinegar in it and
Uh,
stir it up, and then you
uh-huh.
put it on your face.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And
you use
how
that.
long did you leave it for?
Well, it depends on how thick you make the paste. You can do a thick paste and it'll take longer. I like to get it pretty wet, and then I like to just rub it with my fingers because it goes on best with fingers. And if you do like a thin layer, it takes a few minutes. You got to let it dry, and it depends on if there's a fan and stuff going. And what it does, you can actually kind of feel it shrink, and it's supposed to pull the toxins out of the pores. And it reminds me of cement, because basically that's kind of what it is. Cement is kind of like a clay with all this stuff in it and some chemicals in it. And so that's kind of what it kind of reminds me of when you're putting it on your, mixing it together. It kind of looks like cement.
Yeah. And what about on your feet? Maybe that would be a good place at the bottom of your feet where a lot of the toxins.
I have swollen ankles because I have the lymphatic system is like not draining.
Oh.
So I like to put it on my ankles to see if it'll pull anything out of my ankles.
Your lymphatic system hasn't got a pump, so you have to move it. You have to move. That rebounding is good for that.
Yeah, I don't have enough room in my room here, but I've been lifting weights,
especially
and I'm
things
noticing
like this.
Yeah, so I've been lifting the weights, and because you're doing a lot of pumping and tightening your hands, I'm noticing that it's helping the circulation in my legs.
Mm-hmm.
When I sleep at night, I have to sit up because my nose starts to drain. And I think what's happening is it's trying to drain from I don't know, wherever, and it's trying to drain, I think, the lymphatic system. And I think once I get that under control, I don't think I'll have that issue. So I'm doing the reverse dieting, right? So they said you'd gain weight, and I gained weight, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight. But I noticed my bowels are now starting to work. My stomach, because I have low stomach acid, my stomach's starting to work. One of the things I learned is that when your body is starving itself, it does not send the chemicals or whatever it needs to be able to digest the food, because it's trying to conserve energy. So it doesn't. So I'm thinking that's probably how I got the low stomach acid, is because my body was shutting down and it wasn't producing that acid. So I'm not having as much issue with the stomach acid. And I'm starting to feel, I'm having days where I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm sleeping better, which is
that's great.
Because I had insomnia last summer for probably about 4 months.
Yeah, wow, that's not good.
So, and I was taking care of a 1.5-year-old, and I would not go in the pool myself with him because I'm like, my reactions are slow. I'm like, no, I'm not. I won't go in the pool with him by myself. And there was times when I was driving home doing 80 on the highway and tired, trying to keep my eyes open. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting about the diatomaceous earth and apple cider vinegar. That's interesting. I used to have so much diatomaceous earth at the other place. Oh, so many things.
Wait, did I say diatomaceous earth?
Yeah.
It's not diatomaceous.
But you meant to say
it's bentonite. It's bentonite clay.
Bentonite clay. Okay.
Yeah. I keep getting the two confused. I don't know why I do.
I've got
one's
some
a
of
shell.
that.
One's
It's a greenish color, isn't it? It's a greenish color.
Oh, you can get it in white too.
Oh, okay. Because I've got some here. I think I bought it a long time ago, and it's greenish. It's just a small bag of it. I might do that.
Yeah, I have both, and when I do makeup, I use the white. And then if you're doing your own natural makeup, if you put what was the other stuff we were talking about?
Apple cider vinegar.
The diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is actually in a lot of stuff because it's an anti-caking ingredient. So if you're doing your own like makeup, like powder or whatever, you can put some of that in there because it'll keep it from caking.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Diatomaceous earth. Yeah.
But all right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna go take a shower and go to bed because I'm tired.
Right. Well, it was good to have you, Deanna.
You too. I'm starting a new job on Monday, so I don't know what time I'm gonna be home, but it's probably gonna be around like 5 or 6. So we probably won't be able to do our
Well, come on the dialogues on Fridays instead. We'll
Yeah,
talk
if
on
I
that.
can make it, I don't know if I'll be home by 5, and then I'm also going to be on call. So depends if you get called into work or whatever. So
So
yeah,
it's 8 o'clock my time, is 5 o'clock your time, is it?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, when if you get there in time, just come on when you can, you know?
yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I'll probably do. Yeah.
yeah.
So, because I might be getting out of work like just as a start. So maybe if I like can get home and
Well, good for you. You got a good job. What is it? What's this with?
so it's behavioral health. So they have it's kind of like a drug treatment facility. So I'm going to be assistant supervisor is what I'm going to be, and I'll be stationed in one of the houses that they have, supervising the things that are going on, and the staff and all that good stuff. So
Drug
um,
rehabilitation.
yeah, they've done some shady stuff. So I'm going to keep looking for a job, and I had an interview yesterday. And they're like, "So when can you start?" I said, "Well, my new job starts Monday. I can start Monday. I've got all my documentation. I can email it to you, and I can be ready by Monday." But they didn't call me and hire me today, so yeah. So we'll see. And they're paying me
Oh,
more. They're paying more money, so hopefully I get it. But we'll see what happens. But
so you don't know whether you've got a job on Monday?
well, I do. But they've done some shady stuff. So I applied for the position. I think they asked me to apply for the position because I have all the experience, but being a supervisor. And I've had people always want me to be supervisor or management, but I've never really wanted to be. Because you really got to deal with people. But I'm like, I need to make more money. So they were only like paying $17 an hour. And I was like, that's really low. And I'm like, I can go make $25 an hour and be a teacher, but I don't really want to be a teacher. So then I noticed she put the schedule up and it was for she re-put the position up and it was for $19 an hour. So I thought, you know what, I'll take it for 19. So we did another interview, and I told her like, I'll take 19, whatever. And she's like, I think that's like 38,000 a year, right? She wasn't really sure. I wasn't sure what it was either. So then she hired me. She sent me the information, said I'd be making 38,000 a year. So when I had time, I went on the internet and looked to see what $19 an hour would be, and it's like 39 something. So I messaged her and I said, I know you weren't really sure what, $19 an hour was a year. And, so I looked at her, whatever. So she came back and she's like, well, the position's for 38,000. And I'm like, I know it said 19 on the thing because that's the whole reason why I reapplied again. So I'm like, okay, so that's a little shady. So I'm like, I'm going to still keep looking for jobs. So I had somebody else message me for a behavioral health position for autistic kids, right? So when it came up, I kind of clicked on it for some reason, and I happened to see the name of the new company. So I started reading it. So this company is starting an autism business or autism service, and they're doing it with the company that's hiring me. But they never mentioned to me that they're going to start a house for autistic people. So what I'm thinking is like, oh, let's get her in here for $18 an hour, see how well she does. Then we'll have her manage this house for autism, and we'll tell her, we'll give her like $19 an hour. When you should be making like $25 an hour. So I'm like,
the whole structure is just so sick.
Yeah. So I'm like, so it's almost like a lie. Like they just didn't say anything, so technically it's not a lie. But to me, it's like if I have this autism experience and you've got this house coming up, why wouldn't you say, oh, we're networking or we're partnering with someone and we're going to be having a house for autism, and we're going to be looking at you maybe for that position. They don't say that. So that's like two things that they've done that's a little shady. So
Deanna, this is one out of left field, but would you ever think of coming to New England? Would that ever interest you or not? Because you like the heat and all that.
Yeah, no. It's too cold.
You know, somebody came here from Texas with my other bunch of friends, and she said, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful here." I said, "Yeah, I know, it's beautiful. People don't really realize how beautiful it is because they've lived with it, you know, like, oh, it's just gorgeous." So yeah, it's just too cold for you. Hey, I know it's not for sissies up here, that's for sure.
It's probably not as bad as Michigan because I heard once you get past the Michigan border, it's usually a lot nicer. But yeah, I don't really like the cold. I'm just so sick of the cold. I don't really understand why people even live in Michigan because there's like 2 growing seasons, and it's hot as hell during the summer. But no matter where you're going to be, it's going to be hot as hell. It doesn't matter. You're going to be in air conditioning, and then September, October, it's beautiful all the way until about May before it gets hot. So you've got, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. You've got like 8 beautiful months, that are just great. And I love it, actually. And if I wanted to go be in snow, literally, I can drive I drove an hour and a half to Prescott and I was in snow. I can drive 3 hours and I can go skiing in Flagstaff if I want to. So if I want to, I can do that. If I want to go to the beach, it's like 3.5 hours. And you go to Mexico, there's a beach there, and then I could drive, I think, 6 hours if I wanted to go to California Beach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to put that past you because I thought it'd be fun if we could work together, I think
it'd be a blast.
But we can probably do it remotely anyway.
Yeah, if I could get my business going, I don't know, I might look at maybe moving, who knows. I'm still trying to work on my app. I'm trying to find a techie who can help me with my app. So I follow this guy on YouTube, right? And he's a techie guy. He's kind of funny. And he's always talking about his divorce and stuff, right? So I'm always going on there saying stuff. So I'm like, I'm trying to make this app and I need a techie guy, and I think he took my my information off. I was like, really, dude? So I'm trying to find somebody to help me. Yeah, he took it off. So yeah, but I went on Fiverr. Have you ever heard of Fiverr?
No.
So
yeah, you told me.
Yeah, so if you ever do like an online. So I went on there actually, and a couple techie guys who said that they would make an app on Glide, which is where I'm going through. So I messaged them and I said, how much would you make to do a video for forms? Because I'm having the issue with the form. And one guy, I'm like, and do you speak English fluently? Because the one guy is from India. And he said, yes, he did, but didn't tell me how much it would cost to make the video. And then the other guy said he would send it to me in a PDF. So I'm thinking he probably isn't very good fluent at English. So he said he would send it in a PDF. I don't know if I really want to do a PDF. I don't know what would be better, a video or PDF.
Yeah.
And then he didn't give me a price on what he would charge. I'm like, come on, people. Like, I need to know prices. So, yeah. So I might end up going that route.
I'm working on at the moment, I'm working on putting together a database of worker cooperatives and hoping to get more people developing worker cooperatives, but not through the government. There'll be 2 forms, one through the government and one through no government, just one through the register. The register will be the direct one. You just have to put your name up on the register and just show that you are a worker cooperative. There's no need to go through the government. But the ones that have gone through the government, I doing all this database, you get to see the patterns, and the ones that are these worker co-ops, they're very left-wing. Very, very left-wing, very political a lot of the time. And they try to be fair in this and that, but really you can't be fair if you're working in a money system. It's not fair. So they never mention that part. The discrimination there. But I want to sell this database because it is actually a fair bit of work. And I want to sell it for like $5 or something, and people, when they pay $5, they can go on the register, and that's the only way you have to register is $5 register, to start up a new one. And I think that businesses can reopen under their terms if they don't have anything to do with the government. It's kind of like local, you know what I mean? Local between the people, and the government has nothing to do with it. We're going to have to take a stand, and just get on with our lives, and we can't be all just going along with this idea of government. That's just an idea, and we're more than that. So
I threw out the timeshare on my Facebook page, and a couple of people are interested in it, but nobody's interested in enough to want to take it over and do it. And I'm like, I got enough stuff going on. I'm not going to do it.
The
And
time
so
bank, you mean?
Yeah. Yep. So
Yeah,
I've just
yeah,
thrown it out there like it sounds good, and that's all they ever say or do.
yeah.
So I'm like,
Well, we're
well,
we're
somebody,
we're going to try and get something going on that too, Frederick and I. But there's a lot to do. Yeah, there's a lot, but
yeah,
just keep on doing it. We just keep on going.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
all you can really do. So,
yeah,
but I want to start. I want to start. What are they called? Doing my workshops to teach people how to represent themselves, because once they represent themselves, they're kind of changing the system. And until we can get people to start
yeah.
representing themselves in family court system, nothing's ever going to change. And when
Mm.
you're not using an attorney and people are going in there and creating chaos and shit, and they're going to be like, oh, this is just too stressful. They'll do something. They'll change their ways. So I really need to get people to do that. So I'm going to be focusing on maybe once a month doing that. And then I got to figure out how I want to advertise it so I can hopefully get people to want to come and be on it. And I can
Yeah.
start to people.
Yeah, activists should be advertising each other's stuff. We've already talked about this, and like put it on their websites and start to. I'm trying to get Serendipity Media moving again, so a bit more, so that we can do ads for people. Like I'd do ads for you. What you'd have to do is get me a script, and I could put something together. Because I don't know what to say for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And then I can share your media stuff. I've got a friend
yeah,
who does she does podcasts. They're called Slam the Gavel, and I've been on it a couple of times, and people have actually heard her podcast and contacted me. They're like, I heard I heard you on her podcast. This lady went and listened to my podcast. She's like, oh my god. She's like, it's like I'm right there with you at the park because you can hear the birds chirping and the dogs barking and the ducks and geese. She's like, it's like I'm right at the park with you.
I must listen to that. I have heard that show, but I didn't hear you on it. I didn't hear the one with you on it.
Oh, okay. On the Slam the Gavel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm on there twice. So she's like, well, I'll have you on there a third time and we'll talk about, blah, blah. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, let me
So,
know when you're on things because I like to keep up with all this stuff.
okay. Yeah, I share a lot of her stuff. She shares a lot of my stuff, and we're kind of just networking with each other and kind of trying to get things to grow and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Yeah, we'll get there. We got to move on, but keep moving. We got to keep moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't look like you stopped the recording, or did you start it again?
I started it again in case there was, which has been quite good.
Yeah.
When you get ready and you want to advertise your media and stuff like that, if you want to do stories on Family Court or whatever, I'm sure Marianne will talk with you, and you can go on her podcast and talk about what it is you do, and talk about, because a lot of it's going to be women too. You could talk about the women's calendar and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to. What would I have to do that? Would I have to say
talk to Marianne?
Okay. I'll send her something. That's a good idea. I really should be doing things like that and connecting with everybody, but there's just always so much to do. Like, it sounds like there's so much to do. I also have a pretty easy life too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be rushed. I don't like to have a whole bunch of stuff feeling like it's, really building up on top of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's kind of what tends to happen. So I'm noticing a pattern, so I'll have a job, I try and save up my money because just in case something happens, because it always happens with me. And then it seems like my business kind of gets set aside. I'm going to try and work on it if I'm not tired and exhausted. And then something happens with the business, and then I have nothing else to do, or something happens with my employer, and then I have nothing to do. So then I go into revamping the business because I have nothing to do and I don't want to go spend any money. So I just work on the business, and then eventually I get another job and then the business goes aside. So it just seems to be the pattern. So I think what I'm going to do this time is maybe focus on 3 of them, and I need to figure out how to advertise. And
yeah, that's always a biggie. Yeah, we got to work it all out. We're all in a new paradigm, kind of getting there. I'd like to see businesses change to cooperatives rather than businesses, but worker cooperatives, and that they still get paid, but I'd like to see ideally 50% in another currency, a people's currency or a women's currency, a women recommended currency, because women have got to start initiating because we're not equal until we initiate.
Mhm.
Everything we do is in the man system. Everything. The family court, the non-family court, everything.
There
Acts.
used to be this organization. It was called Go Vote, Go Run, Go Lead, Go Girl. And what they were doing was they were trying to get more women into politics, because
Yeah,
they're
well,
like,
that's
we've got 80-year-old men who've been in politics for 30 years who are making laws for us and have no clue what women need. We're
That's
like,
right.
they're like, we need more women. And so I
Yeah,
actually
but
got a grant and went to their training.
good. But the thing is, the politics itself is male. It's all male. The whole idea, and it's misogynist. It's anti-women. So that's why it's you can't get it out of the misogyny. You can't get it out of there. It's
So
baked in.
Michigan in 2013, I want to say it was, one of the women representatives said the word vagina on the floor, and they silenced her and kicked her off the floor. And I went there too. We were all at the Capitol, and we were wearing shirts that said like vagina or whatever on it, and we were out
Yeah,
there demonstrating, like, how dare you kick her because she said vagina, but she's
I
trying to
remember that.
legislate laws for women. And you kicked
Yeah,
her, silenced her, and kicked her
it's
off the floor because she said the word vagina. Seriously.
it's a misogynist system, and women. The more women try to be successful in it, the more women will be subjugated. We might think that you can see women at top of the head of a big corporation, but really the women don't make any of the decisions. They think that they do, but there's a whole silent brotherhood behind it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, pulling all the strings, and the strings are money, the money system, the political system, the judicial system, the educational system, every system, the language, every system is all male.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to start building some different a proper balance. I said that in a good way, and I recorded it yesterday or someday, that I said it in a good way, and I can't uh, we're I'm not going to be able to get it right now. It was a new thought, but I did put it down, so I have to just go through my recordings. But we need the balance, because we've really just been seeing things. Oh, that's what I thought of it, in mono. We've only been seeing things in mono. Instead, we've got to see it in stereo, man and woman, not just
Yeah.
man.
And
Can't
yeah.
do it like that
Well, and
anymore.
it's kind of interesting because my whole thing, like, part of the reason why I can't date is because men don't see women as a partner and as a team, which blows my mind, because they can play sports where you have to be on a team and you have the whole men, monarchy, whatever going on. So they know how to be in a team, but they just can't be in a team with a woman because they don't think we're smart enough. Because we don't think like them and whatever and whatnot, and we're just not smart enough, which I think is kind of interesting. And
Yeah, they
so,
don't think we're smart. That's true.
yeah,
Generally speaking, I mean, some people like Frederick and Marc are offended by all that stuff too, just as much like we are. But I've spoken on this subject with two other men and learned a lot. But one of them gives me a very good insight. He said that men are constantly fighting the feminine inside them, and they do think that the women are inferior. They do think that, and you think about it though. It's been going, this thinking, for thousands of years, and the men have only seen and only been experienced in talking to men regarding public life and the outside working life, because women have always just been at home. Only up until the last 70 or so years have women been outside of the home and inside the public life as well, out in the public life, and having an education. But before that, women were only at home, only with the children. And when men came home, they were supposed to make them feel comfortable and all that kind of jazz, because they were out working all day. But when we go out working all day, we still have to
I
come
know.
home and do everything. But that's what they used to say then. And so the men, when they went to work, they got away from the family and they go to work. They actually go somewhere different and go to a place called work, where it's an artificial world where, you know, people are silent and they can do their work without any children's noises and all that. And they wanted to get away from the wife and the children, and so they could focus and concentrate. So they went to work. And so it's all based work on the man's needs. Man needs to do that. But women don't want to do that. They want to work, but they want to be able to be near their family, you know, so they're not catered to in the public, in the political world. They're not catered to at all. There's no child minding. It's just ridiculous. Women are the absolute second-class citizens, more so, well, just as much as they ever have been. It's just been shifted, the perception, that's all. You know, we're really at a disadvantage, Deanna. But although we have got a window of advantage, but if this keeps on going, this pattern, we're going to end up really disadvantaged, because rape, for one thing, rape is so acceptable today. So acceptable.
Yeah. You know, and it's kind of interesting that article today, you know, when the woman was like, you know, we don't have a sex life and my husband's watching porn. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, you should leave him because he's probably also watching, you know, children and porn. And for people to like attack me, they're like, oh, you're a pedo yourself. And I was like, seriously? I'm like, I said, y'all must be Democrats. And I said, you all should be reporting that your president that you chose is elder abuse. You know, that's what you should be doing. And then I'm like, I gotta go. I got some adulting to do. I'm like, you kids have a wonderful day. And then I haven't been back on it since. So I'm sure they're pissed that, you know, they're writing whatever about me and I'm not going on there responding to them. And I'm sure they've probably like, you know, flagged me or whatever. And I'm going to get kicked off. And I'm like, kick me off. Who the hell cares? I'm not going to be upset about it. So I just think it's kind of funny. And, you know, like what he was talking about, that's kind of what it's become like. It's just ridiculous. But one of the things was interesting when I was watching that video and they were talking about this Leviathan, right? And how, you know, because he twists her, whatever, right? And he says it's like an alligator and their kind of eyes are above the water, right? And he said, you got to recognize it. And once you recognize it, it goes back underwater. And I was like, that's kind of interesting, because once you recognize it, like, oh, she knows, it kind of, you know, goes under the water and kind of swims away, you know, and then it might come back and, you know, kind of sneak in there again. And I thought that was really kind of interesting. So now when I got a guy that's going to attack me, that's going to attack me and be like, okay, Leviathan, right? They're going to be like, Leviathan? Who's that?
Yeah, I love it. That is really good.
I went on Facebook and I said somebody needs to write a story about a narcissist and his name needs to be Leviathan, right?
Yes.
And at the ending of the story, he needs to turn into like the sea creature, right? So I was talking to my old boss in Michigan and we were talking about this and I'm like, we should make it that he's running to be he's an attorney and he's running to be a judge. Right. And then he gets this case with this girl, which is basically me. Right. And how she makes his life a living hell with the shit she's doing.
He goes back underwater.
I know. And in the end, he turns into like the sea creature or something.
Oh, he turns into an eel.
Yeah, there you go. It's
a very benign snake.
Yeah, exactly.
You can smoke and have for dinner.
But yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting because, you know, they were like, he said, you know, like they showed a crocodile and they were like, you know, look at all the teeth. And they're like, so it's a spirit of the mouth. And I'm like, that's exactly what it is in the stuff that they say. So there's this girl, I can't remember her name. I've only seen her a couple of videos. So she's doing these videos where she's going to Ohio campus, I believe it is. And she's asking them history stuff or political stuff, right? And they have no clue. Like, they can't answer some of the shit, right? I can't answer some anyways. But so these 3 men or 2 men on this talk show have done nothing but talk shit about her, right? So she goes, they're like, how she even, you know, is allowed on campus is beyond me. So she goes to this campus. She is basically attacked by people throwing hot coffee on her and everything else. And they don't even know anything that she's even talking about because they're listening to these 2 guys. And I'm like, oh my God. So she does this video, right? And she basically is exposing them and pulling them out. And she had went on their show. And then they're like, oh, we're going to delete her off the show. We're going to take her whole, you know, whatever down. And all they keep doing is like, oh, she's this. And it's kind of interesting to watch. And I'm like, And she's like, you people have said so much shit about me. You've put my life in danger because of what you said. And I'm like, this is how men are. It's like, you're not even thinking about her safety of going on a campus and doing something and what it is you're saying and how it's affecting.
They have no idea, some of those guys, no idea of what they do to women. They have no fucking idea. The hardship that they put women through. I went through that with my partner, my previous partner. He had no idea of the hardship he put me through. None.
Well, she has like a GoFundMe page or whatever, and she was at one of these places and it started rioting, and he literally picked her up on his shoulder and carried her through the crowd and got her out of the crowd. And so she's like, please donate to my page so I can get more security guards to go with me. Because now she has to hire security guards because of these guys to go with her anywhere. So she can be, I'm like, they should be paying for it. Seriously.
Yeah, I know. It's just so acceptable in this society to be a predator. It's acceptable to be a predator. Oh, people don't like it, but it's acceptable. They accept it and they allow it, and it's just something that people say, oh well, that's the way it's always been. And so, it's only women and men who understand this that can get the new routine going, because it's just a routine, a new convention going, because we can't just keep doing this stuff.
So it's interesting. So my client that I have, the teenage boy, he shows me this video, right? And it's gang members. They made this video, right? They're singing and they're naming the people they have killed, literally. And they're taunting another gang member. And then that gang member made a video back to them, and they were saying he went a little bit too far. I'm not sure of the whole gang stuff, and actually what he was saying was really bad, but apparently it was. And I looked at this child and I said, you are making these people famous for killing 4 people. Why? Why would you watch these videos? You're making them famous. You're talking about them because they're whatever's going up. They're making money off from YouTube. I'm like, seriously? I'm like, don't you have better things to do with your time?
Yeah. Do you think you got through to him?
No. So I messaged his mother and she's like, I know. She's like, and she's mortified. She's like, yeah, I know. He kind of tends to, he relates to the Black ethnic groups. What he relates to. It's just crazy because his mom has all kinds of money. And he's very well taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to, you can see how they're infiltrating the young children's minds. I was at one of the places I worked at when I minded an elderly couple on their property, and the woman who's minding her now, because the man died, she had her 8-year-old daughter there, and her 8-year-old daughter, the grandmother, that was not her daughter, it was her grandmother, it was her granddaughter, and the woman who replaced me, she was my age kind of, and she was doing other thing, and I was talking to the girl, and the girl was looking on her, cell phone or whatever it was. These 6-year-old modeling things like Benaise Ramsey or whatever her name was.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was talking about
and I was absolutely floored.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. That this woman was allowing her granddaughter to watch that rubbish, utter rubbish. Mm-hmm. It's just getting girls sexualized, getting ready.
I think that's the show that so many people complained they took it down. I think they were all like in black suits or something, but parents were like, they're too young to be doing this. It needs to come down. It got taken down. I think they might have even gotten sued, but people were like, they're too young. And they're definitely sexualized with all the stuff they were doing. And they're like, this is wrong. And that's sad that that's what it has to take. Like, you didn't think of this before you put this show on here. Like, these kids are too young. Yeah.
You're talking about that show. Yeah. I'm talking about the pageants of the young girls.
Oh, the pageants, yeah.
Those pageants.
And I've actually been a pageant judge before, and never seen the stuff that they've got in there. But my whole thing is like, you've got adults who are creating this shit, and you didn't stop to think about this before you put it on TV? Like, serious.
Yeah, I know. I know. And you know, I got banned from Facebook for a month for that picture that I show everybody,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
called balance. And I on my page, they put all these sexual pictures. One of them was a young girls, very young, being like the models in front of the cars, you know, sell cars.
Mhm.
It was just so I thought, and they're banning the picture that I put on there. So it's against their community standards. What kind of community have you got there? Facebook? I think it's a pedophile community. That's what it's against, you know?
It is. It is. It's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, child pornography. Just
Yeah, if I could get off Facebook, I would. And when I start up new social media, I'm not even doing anything on Facebook, because you know what I'm into is kind of like conspiracy theorist stuff, and so you know they're just going to kick me off. I'm like, I'm going to spend all time making these videos and trying to get all these people, and then they're just going to ban me. So I'm trying
yeah,
to switch
there's
over.
a new
to, like,
one.
Rumble
It's
and
not a
try-
social media, but it's like a YouTube, and it's for free speech. It's called Super You, and that's where I'm going to put Serendipity Media on as well instead of BitChute. BitChute keeps not processing the videos. That's why I've taken it so long to do this. They keep not processing the videos. They've only processed one of my videos, and they won't process anymore.
Are they
They
too
say
long?
it's processing. I go through the time, and then it's never up. They never put it up. So I think BitChute, I don't trust it 100% either. I've heard them using censorship a couple of times. So this one uses absolutely no censorship. It's called Super U, but that's like YouTube. I want to get something like Facebook, but that's better than Facebook. So far, MeWe seems to be the best one,
I didn't like MeWe,
but
but
it's not very popular.
look up Tribe. I really like Tribe. It's a lot like
Is
Facebook.
it tribe.com?
I'm not sure, but it's kind of interesting because they have 3 buttons, and one is like post, one's like discussion, and I can't remember what the third one is.
I'm
And
practically
I'm not
every one
sure.
of them.
I don't know if you create one account and then you can get on other accounts, or if you have to create an account for each business. I'm not really sure on that aspect of it.
Do you have to pay to be on it?
No, you don't have to pay to be on it. And oh, shoot, I was going to tell you something else and I forgot what I was going to tell you. And I switched over to what was that one? Patron and
No, Parlor.
Parlor. Yeah, I switched over to Parlor.
Yeah,
So that's back
Russian
up and running now. Parlor, I've been on there in a while, but that's back up and running.
Uh-huh.
My Patreon,
Well,
I don't know what happened to my Patreon account, so I restarted that and went back on there and put information, but nobody seems to be interested in paying for my information. So, and I'm like, I can sit there. I can put my information up, and it can sit there. Then that might be what they want to do, is they want me to get my information up and then pay $30 for 1 month and go and get all my content and information for $30. So I'm just gonna let it.
I don't want to. I think if Facebook is a waste of time. It's a sinkhole. Like you put all your time in, and then they just take it down. You know, so they have no regard for people's work.
I've made some good friends on there, and
yeah, me too.
The torture trauma therapy site is actually most of my traffic has come from there, and that site has got in 2 months 10,000 hits almost on it, and it's trending. It's people from UK picked it up, Australia have picked it up, Canada's picked it up, and it's pretty much in every state.
On Tribe.
So that right there, I've been putting on Facebook, and then I put it on Tribe. I don't have that many people who are on Tribe. I don't think they know about it, but I really like Tribe. I think it's nice.
Well, thank you. I'm just looking at it now, and I would like to check it out, and because we've got to find an alternative to Facebook and get off Facebook.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. So I've got 2 accounts. I got one for the torture trauma therapy and one for the Miss Liberty. And I think you can invite people by their email. I think is how it goes. Yeah. So if you want to do the Miss Liberty, I think it's misslibertyinfluencer@gmail.com. And you can invite me, put it in, put my address in there, and then
I've got your email address.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's the one we talk on. Yeah. So that'll work. But I'm gonna let you 2 go because I'm gonna take a shower. I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
All right, my dear. Thank you very much for your lovely company.
Nice seeing you again, Frederick. You guys have a great night.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Yeah,
Deanna.
Deanna.
Yeah, I'll see you guys next Friday, hopefully.
Great.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Good luck for Monday.
All right, thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.